Shoulder pain, with extension of pain into the arm, provoked by sideway elevation of the arm and induced by the chronic emotional stress of daily life. This animation is prepared to demonstrate how, in cases of chronic emotional stress, this shoulder pain and its extension into the arm come about. In order to understand this animation, we will consider only one symptom of long-standing or chronic emotional stress, which is increase in muscle tone as indicated by muscle spasm, continuing as long as the stressful events continue. In the literature on chronic emotional stress, this symptom has been discussed very superficially. Usually it is only mentioned as tight muscles, which is used to explain patients' complaints of widespread, coming and going aches and pains. In short-term, acute emotional stress, which has also been called fight-or-flight syndrome, muscle tone instantly increases throughout the body, usually described as general muscle tone increase. This lasts only for the duration of the emotional stress-producing event and ends, as a rule, in minutes to hours. In contrast, in states of chronic emotional stress, muscle tone increase will last as long as the emotional stress continues, for weeks and even months. Additionally, muscle spasm due to chronic emotional stress gradually forms in an orderly manner according to a certain pattern. We can classify it according to intensity and duration of the emotional stress as belonging to one of these categories. Minimal form of chronic emotional stress is the most frequently encountered variety because it is caused by the chronic emotional stress of daily life situations. Latent tenderness starts at the sides of the neck. The number 1 and possibly number 2 pain spots become detectable only with a hands-on exam. Some discover these tender sites by self-examination, and some while rubbing their neck say, "My muscles are all tight and tender, I think I'm stressed out and need a vacation." Moderate form of chronic emotional stress is set on by mounting activity in our emotional centers. This latent tenderness spreads to the midline muscles at the neck and over the shoulder muscles, and also, independently, at the number 3 and number 4 pain spots in the arms. Moderate plus form of chronic emotional stress. Latent muscle spasm and tenderness further spread, mostly to the upper back muscles. Also, some of the low back pain spots already become detectable. Patients feel more discomfort, aches and pains throughout the neck, upper back, and arms. They may also experience frequent tension headaches, loss of strength, and fleeting tingling and numbness in the arms. Severe form of chronic emotional stress. Here the latent tenderness elicited throughout the body and all known pain spots become brutally painful to the touch. This figure demonstrates the most commonly elicited pain spots that I used in my practice. Dental anesthetic injection at the number 2 pain spot for headaches, neck, shoulder, and arm pain, and at the number 11 pain spot for hip and lower back pain. An extremely important point to remember is that in all emotionally stressful states mentioned, muscle spasm remains latent, remaining almost always beyond the patient's awareness. The presence of such concealed muscle spasm is elicited only by simple hands-on examination and by evoking pain or tenderness in the corresponding area. In an exception to the previous point, pain spots with already existing severe latent muscle spasm will reveal themselves if exposed to any kind of new stimulus, such as pressure, stretch, or shared pain stimulus from another nearby painful area. These 3 forms of stimulus will further existing muscle spasm, as this extra squeeze on the regional pain nerve signals to the brain and the patient feels pain. As we will see in this animation, shoulder pain is brought forth in the arm's 3rd, 4th, and 5th pain spots to pain level. What are the pain spots? Where the tenderness is usually most sensitive to touch or stretch, in contrast to other tender areas, because at these spots muscle spasm sets especially tight. They are usually located closer to both ends of muscles. Their locations are fixed and won't change from person to person. Because of these qualities, they are enumerated for identification. These 4 qualities will be helpful as we try to understand the emotional origin of certain shoulder pain and its extension into the arm. Muscle spasm caused by chronic emotional stress forms in certain orders and patterns. remains mostly latent, forms tightly at the predictable sites called pain spots, and beyond a certain degree, spasm incites pain. People with moderate to severe, long-standing, or chronic emotional stress are liable to have shoulder pain. This pain may manifest itself while raising the arm sideways, and the pain may run into the arm, often extending to the hand. This may happen at no fault of the shoulder joint itself, and with no neurologic origin. This shoulder pain originates from already firmly established latent muscle spasm at the number 2 pain spot, at the upper corner of the scapula, which in fact pre-existed as a part of the muscle spasm provided by ongoing chronic emotional stress. Because of the pain's close proximity to the shoulder joint, the patient misinterprets the source of the pain and states, "My shoulder hurts." This source is unexpected because the upper corner of the scapula lies deep and it is covered with a heavy layer of muscle. This diagnosis is based on the observation that when the number 2 pain spot is injected with dental anesthetic, the shoulder pain is fully abolished and the arm can be raised without pain. This is a back view of a young man who has been involved in a taxing divorce and custody battle over the last 2 years. During the last 6 months, he has started to feel pain over his shoulder. After sitting in one place for too long, and sometimes while raising his arm sideways, he has experienced severe pain at the shoulder with extension of pain into the arm all the way to his hand. Otherwise, he was told that he is healthy. Examination brings forth severe tenderness at the upper corner of the shoulder blade, or scapula, depicted as a blue spot, and also elicits other pain spots on the arm, which are also depicted as blue spots, all of which are enumerated as numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5. These stand for places where the parts of the muscles are in firm spasm, as a result becoming quite hurtful to moderate finger pressure or stretch. Along the left edge of the diagram there are 3 wafer-shaped discs representing the segments of the spinal cord through which the brain operates, using all those nerves carrying information in and out. The black lines specify pain information carrying nerves to the brain, and the red ones carry out motor work orders from the brain to muscles. These communications occur through the part that looks like the gray butterfly. We'll see the mechanics of the animation at a much reduced speed. While the arm is going up, watch the shoulder blade, which is at a slower pace, rotating in a down then upward motion, following the arm. Remember that latent pain spot number 2 is at the upper corner of the scapula, which receives considerable stretch due to this rotation. This stretch excites the existing pain nerve in this pain spot. This sends signals to the brain, and as a result the patient feels pain over his shoulder near to his neck. This up and down black line represents a certain track in the spinal cord where the pain stimulus splits, going up and down to reach 3 to 4 segments in both directions. By following the cord segments, part of the pain stimuli will reach the latent number 4 and 5 pain spots. Each of these pain spots receives a new stimulus. Existing latent muscle spasm will go above the critical points and will signal pain, which will be felt by the patient as a borderless pain area near its respective pain spot. These feelings of pain will occur in succession because every pain spot is a little bit further away from the spinal cord than the last. In real life, this event takes place in a fraction of a second, giving the impression that the pain ran from the shoulder to the arm. More detail about this process will follow. This is a blow-up view of half of the spinal cord segment, demonstrating passage of the pain stimulus, which couldn't be verified before. These 2 lines are extensions of the pain nerves that synapse with a solitary neuron that sends a pain stimulus to the brain, causing the patient to experience pain. Just before the synapse, pain nerves give very dainty collaterals, and a limited portion of the same pain information is conveyed through the small neurons lattice to front of the wing, where the gamma motor neurons, which are also small motor neurons, exclusively transmit pain information to the muscle spindles. When steadily excited, these receptors will contract and regular muscle fibers next to them will follow, so that at the spindle, collected areas will elicit muscle spasm. When steadily excited for hours and days, these receptors will contract, and regular muscle fibers next to them will follow, so that at the spindle, collected areas will elicit muscle spasm. Elevating his arm sideways pulls on the scapula's corner, the number 2 pain spot, which causes the patient to experience sudden pain, and so he jerks his arm. A major part of this pain information goes to the brain, and the first pain is felt over his shoulder areas. As mentioned, a small portion of these pain stimuli travel through his spinal cord segments, terminating in the pain spots. In excess, these newly arriving stimuli will drive the existing muscle spasm further up, and the patient will have pain in the vicinity of these pain spots from 2 to 5. Because the pain spots are getting further away from the spinal cord and the distances continue to increase, pain areas will emerge in successions, split seconds apart. As a result, the patient will feel as if pain is extending from his shoulder to his hand. This explanation of radiating pain better matches the description of the radicular pain